It should be all good. Someone in the chat, please let me know if my mic is in fact working. Shout out to everyone in the chat, especially Bufo. He's really motivating people right now. He's motivating me. And he did talk about the possibility of there being a giveaway today. So it's kind of a mysterious giveaway. I'll tell you everything I know about it. Damn, this camera. So check it out. First of all, I want to remind you about the Masego Remix Challenge. It's a partnership between BeatStars, Masego, and Native Instruments, and it's a remix challenge. I've heard some of the remixes, actually. BeatStars has been reposting a bunch of them to their Instagram page. This is important because that Instagram page is going to come up again. And you have until the 16th of this month. That's 8 more days. You can get a remix in by then. Just go to Masego, masego.beatstars.com to submit. They are giving away over $5,000 in prizes, including a shout out from Masego and a whole bunch of more stuff. So I'm going to post that link in the chat so you don't have to deal with dictating what I'm saying. And there it is. Just visit that URL, get the necessary files, make your remix, and win. Trying to change my view to show the background. Anyway, to speak to what Bufo was talking about, I'm excited about this too. This is the kind of mysterious contest. So Isotope reached out and we worked it out so that we can give away to all of you 3 free copies of the brand new Ozone 9 Advanced. It's a mastering suite, but it's also a plugin. There's a whole bunch new in that particular version. So let me just read some of this because there are new features. It says, bring balance to your music. Ozone 9 Advanced. Enjoy never before seen processing for low end. Obviously important. Real-time instrument separation. And lightning fast workflows powered by machine learning. So this, I don't have this. Sounds amazing. But that whole rebalance option, I'm guessing, is something similar to what they have in their program. It's called RX8. They had it in previous versions too, but I have RX8. Yeah, that plugin. Has anyone used that? Someone in the chat shout it out. If you've used Ozone 9 or if you've used RX8. RX8, that music rebalance option. I was gonna show people this. Just maybe I will show you because Burn One isn't in yet, and he's our special guest today. So if he's later, I'm gonna just jump in and show you what you can do with Ozone 8 because it's amazing. You can actually load in a sample and remove instruments from it. So I know with me, if I'm using a sample and there's some drums or a bass line or something that I just don't want as a part of the sample, there's nothing I could do. I just try to EQ it out and then cry myself to sleep when it doesn't work. Now I can just completely get rid of it. Oh yeah, Bufo, Dream Life swears by it, and now I'm the proud owner of Ozone 8. Shout out to Isotope, and it is amazing. And Dream Life had RX7, and he says RX8 is way better, but I feel like it should be legal. It's so amazing. So anyway, to enter to win one of 3 copies of Isotope Ozone 9 Advanced, which is a $500 plugin. All you have to do is first follow BeatStars on Instagram, instagram.com/BeatStars, or just @BeatStars on Instagram. And look out for the post about this contest, about this giveaway. You're going to have to comment with a keyword. The keyword is balance because that's what Ozone 9 Advanced does. It helps you bring balance to your music. It sounds like some never before seen technology for a mastering suite. And while we wait for Burn One, I do want to talk about a bunch. I wanted to talk about this today. Did anyone see the post by S1 about his publishing deal? Because this is important, and I think publishing deals have obviously changed a lot, and publishing situations have changed a lot. I remember way back before MEC, I interviewed Street Runner, who's a multi-Grammy winner, same as S1. They've all won a ton of Grammys, and Street Runner was talking about how he was in a deal, and a publishing deal, and he regrets signing the publishing deal. And I think he's with Sony now through an admin situation, which is, what BeatStars Publishing offers. It's an admin situation with Sony, and S1. I don't know which deal S1 actually signed. I don't know which. But rather than misquote him, I'm just gonna pull the tweets up right now because it's something that we should talk about. So let me share my screen because this is just absolutely crazy. All right, so this is let me get this out the way. This is the first tweet that S1 posted about this. So his first deal was in 2011. I assume that had to do with his placement on the Kanye album, so the song Power that he did. He says it took him 23 major label released songs to complete a 4-song deal. So he signed a 4-song publishing deal, and it took him 23 placements to get out of that deal, to fulfill the requirements of that deal, which is crazy. And then I heard this too. So he signed a deal called an MDRC deal. We're going to talk about that in a second, because I want to break this down, because this is something that blew my mind. And the person that told me about this and how this worked was Illmind. And this happened years ago, maybe around 2011, 2012. Yeah, Illmind broke it down. We flew Illmind out here for a music business seminar, and he broke down why this is how it is. I didn't realize that this is how publishing deals worked. I thought, okay, I signed a 4-song deal, I get $1 million, and I get 4 placements, and I'm out. I can do this all again. I get another $1 million from another publishing deal. Nope. Can't be that simple. So this probably really just blew a lot of people's minds reading this, a lot of producers. And most of us aren't close to getting even these kind of publishing deal offers. I'm not currently. I've gotten some offers and they didn't sound good, so I turned them down, but that was years ago. But someone commented that they heard MDRC deals are kind of becoming less and less common, and I heard the same thing. So what Street Runner said, this was maybe 2 years ago, he said he prefers the admin deal. BeatStars and Sony launched their admin deals within the last year. That's a cool thing. And I've heard this from other people. But let me go back to his first tweet. So here's the key to this, and this is the part that's crazy. So if you've never dealt with publishing, or registering a song with a PRO, I'll give you some background. So a song, let me open a new document here. Sorry to anyone who already knows this stuff. Publishing is just one of the very many ways to collect royalties from a track that's released. So yeah, I thought about that, Bufo. So publishing has to do with the composition rights. So there are 2 copyrights to each song. We have the master on the one hand, which is the actual recording, and then we have the underlying composition, which are the lyrics, the notes, anything that you could put on paper. So like sheet music that you can have notes on and music on, that's what the composition is. So that's what the publishing deal has to do with. So you start with 100% of a song, right? So let's say I write a song, I make a beat, right? And Bufo raps on this beat. he writes all the lyrics. That's a very simple split, right? Because Bufo is a songwriter, but he's the songwriter and he's the lyrics author, right? And I'm the songwriter, so I get the other 50%. But I'm a songwriter and I'm the composer because I composed the beat. I made the drums, I made the chords, everything. So that makes up 100% total, right? This is the full song. Okay. Now let's say that this is common, right? Well, I won't even go there. Let's keep it simple for now. So let's say Bufo was signed to Atlantic Records, right? He just got a diamond implanted into his forehead, and that's considered a major release. So I have a major publisher reaching out. They say, hey, we want to give you a $250,000 for a 4-song MDRC publishing deal. MDRC stands for Minimum Delivery Release Commitment. That means I have to deliver them at least 4 songs before I can get out of that publishing deal. And I want to get out of the publishing deal because I want to sign a new publishing deal, right? Because I want to make another $250,000 or even more off the next deal. Now, if I take that $250,000 for a 4-song MDRC, let's go back here, right? A full song is 100%. I only own, Bufo, what's the name of our song? I only own 50% of this song that I created with Bufo. The name of this song is Horses in New Jersey. Because I think, don't you live around horses in New Jersey or something? Anyway. So here's the song. It's called Horses in New Jersey. I only own 50% of it. So that means that once I sign this publishing deal, I'm not 1 song in. I'm half a song in. So that 4-song MDRC actually turns into 8 songs if I own half of every song I create, right? So already, right off the bat, in the best case scenario where I own 50% of a song that is released on a major label, I owe the publisher 8 songs. I have to deliver them 8 songs, and they have to approve of them. Puts a little bit more stress on me because it doubles what I thought I owed. I thought I was signing a 4-song deal. Well, I was signing a 4-song deal, but the song has to be 100%. So here's where it gets really complicated, right? What if Horses in New Jersey was a collab between me and Dream Life? So Dream Life actually gets 20% and I get 25%. Sorry, we each get 25%. Dream Life is also a songwriter, composer. That means that now my commitment has just been cut. So not only do I only own 25% of the song because I collaborated on it, on the beat, but now I'm only delivering 25% of a song to my publisher. So that means I have to do this not 8 more times, I have to do this 16 more times. Right? Let's do the math here. Because look at this. 25% times 16 is 4. 4-song. This is my 4-song commitment. But if I only own 25% of the songs, of the records that I produce because of a collab or because of whatever else, now that changes things. Changes things quite a bit. Burn One is in the building. So let me switch back.
Yeah, what up?
How are you feeling? Yeah, we're talking about the bleak outcomes of MDRC deals. Have you ever signed a publishing deal?
No, luckily not. No, I know it's worked out for some people, so I don't want to say it's like in the whole it's bad, but yeah, definitely heard a lot of horror stories too. So no, I haven't done any type of deal like that.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty positive stories about them as well. It's
That's
the
dope.
way I look at it is that a record deal is for your master and a publishing deal is for your composition. So it's really the same thing. And you hear people who love their
Yeah,
record deals, and you hear people who absolutely hate their record deals.
facts.
But anyway, how have you been, man? It's been a minute since we talked. How's 2021 going so far?
I've been wonderful. It's been fun, adventurous, different. Uh, Kind of leaving off on the last interview, I think I just threw it in there like, oh yeah, something about NFTs. I was just really learning about it. Now it's like past like month and a half, we've been, head first into it. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, trust and believe. We're going to talk about NFTs because I think when you brought it up last time, you didn't even use that word.
I know. What did I say?
I got it. I got it written
You
down.
did?
We'll get
Nice.
there. But I
Nice.
wanted also to talk because I've been talking a lot about my journey in the music business and really how long it took, and people were shocked because I posted something recently that I've been making music for a living for 11 years, but before that I basically did it for free for 10, and people are like, how would you do that? Why would you do that? That's crazy. I can't do that. You recently posted one of those how it started versus how it's going Instagrams, and the text said you've been in this music business for over 20 years. So we're like in the same timeline kind of. Let's dive into that. How long did it take you from when you actually started making music to when you actually started making money off of your music related endeavors?
I was making money initially because I'll sell mixtapes. My
Mm.
first, my first endeavor was doing mixtapes of like the top 10 songs on whatever the top 10 countdown on radio was. So I was making money off those immediately. I don't think I've ever, like hit the money, but I've always made consistent money off of it, living money since then, really. So I've been blessed in that.
And 20 years in the game, you must have had some days or months that didn't feel like you were moving forward. What was the time when you felt like giving up on music?
Oh, all the time. I mean, not necessarily giving up, but I mean, shit gets tough. Even when it's up, it's tough. Sometimes it even gets even more tough. So uh, I think it's just about staying balanced. There's different times, different phases in my career. Like I've been doing music since before I was 16. So I've gone through a lot of hills and valleys. It's like a roller coaster. It's just maintaining that balance in between and just keeping it pushing. And I think in the picture I'd said, sometimes not quitting is progress. And I feel that way a lot of the times, just keeping going. That's the most important thing.
Okay, how did you convince yourself to keep going? Because as you said, even when it's up, like I'll have moments where it might just be one day and it feels devastating, even though the day before everything was beautiful.
Right. You're on fire.
How
You can't miss the day before.
yeah, right. And then the next day, it's still not even that bad of a day, but there's just something going on in my head where I'm like, this isn't good. What's gonna happen? So how do you overcome those moments of self doubt and just keep going? Because I agree with you that if you're stubborn enough to not give up, you're automatically like 5 steps ahead of your peers who might quit at any given moment.
Well, I just love it. I just love it. I'm so curious about it. And I'm just a fan. And so I just see so much opportunity and ability to be creative and different things. I didn't choose a regular job, so I don't have regular regular issues. I got different issues, still issues, but it's just keeping everything in focus.
So I had a whole bunch of questions that I didn't ask you the last time we had this conversation. So
Let's
thank you
run
for
through 'em.
coming back.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
and I
also
kind
too, I
of
put time into my craft. That's the main thing. I didn't say that. I put time into my craft, so I know what I'm doing is dope as fuck, and I feel like I'm bringing something to the marketplace. I'm bringing something to everything that I'm doing. Me and my squad are bringing something fresh every time to something. So I feel like we're doing a service by pushing ourselves so hard into the sound design world, like we were before with the Hollywood movie trailers and stuff, and then now in the NFT world. Um, I always feel like we're doing something different and something fresh and innovative, and I don't think there's a lot of people doing that. And so when I see stuff kind of stagnant, I see an opportunity, as opposed to being like, oh, this is what the going rate is. A lot of people are like, oh, that's just what's going. I'm like, oh, so we can do anything. If that's what's going, we can just really go crazy uh, and really go wild. So, I mean, it's an opportunity to be creative.
Yeah, I mean, do you think a lot of people's negative outlooks have to do with their self doubt because maybe they don't feel like they're pushing the envelope, or maybe they don't feel like they've escaped that sort of stagnation valley, to use your term?
Yeah. I don't know. I know a lot of
Well,
people
did it
like
happen to you?
creativity.
Like, were you at a point where you just kind of were doing the same thing over and over again? You're like, this is affecting me in a negative way. I got to change that pattern.
Um, Not really, because we always the way we work is so experimental. We'll go through so many different styles and ways of making music and ways of making samples and ways of doing things, and then just not do it again. We might do something hard like almost every day for 3 months, and then never use that style again. I was thinking about doing a YouTube series of like forgotten techniques. Um, I was listening through this record Night Drive that I did with John Williams, this flautist that we work with, and there was the drum break. I thought it was a live drum break, and it wasn't. It was one that I programmed. I didn't realize that, so I went back in on the mix, and then I looked around the time. It was like 7 other beats I did the same thing on, and I hadn't done it since. This was 2 years ago. It's like this whole little technique I did, and I just haven't used it since then. So I think it's always just like doing something experimental, doing something fun. With our crew, everybody's always doing something different. Everybody's got like Ricky always has a new pedal or something different. Everybody's got a new style or just something fresh. So there's always a constant inspiration. And then if one of us is down or busy or life is going on, one of the others or some of us will just pick up. I was just talking with Ricky about that. That's like one of our strengths. One of us is just going through something personal or whatever. The other ones are able to hop back in and just keep it pushing.
So let's say that you didn't have 5 Points Bakery, right? Let's say you were still
Hmm.
solo, because a lot of people making beats and producing records out there are doing it completely solo, and
Oh
so
yeah,
they
that
find
was
it a
the first
little.
10 years of my career.
Yeah. So what would your advice be to the producers that are completely solo, that don't necessarily have creatives around them to constantly push them and to reinvent their processes with?
I would say find people online. Find people you can connect with, find people you can build with, find like minds. They're out there. The internet's so much easier to connect with people now. Like all the people that we're doing these NFTs with are from England and New Zealand and just all these different places. And so it's like go online, find where people the stuff that you're interested in, find other people there and just work with people. I wasn't really producing so much for the first 10 years of my career. I was DJing and A&R and doing marketing. But even with that, I was just finding people in music I wanted to be around. Like even when I first started DJing and doing mixtapes, I would just go around Grand Hustle, and they would just let me hang out. I would just be there because that was around the music that I wanted to hear. So it's kind of like do the same thing. Put yourself in a place to where the things are happening that you want to be. Now you can do it digitally. Back then, back in my day, you had to be there. Now it's like it's so easy to connect with people online. I was just working with this artist from California. She flew in to record me a Tree Sound, and I just put her up on BeatStars. She was like, I kind of do songs on other people's beats and this, that, and the other. I was like, you can go on BeatStars and like lease a beat for like $30. She was like, really? And I pulled up, she had rapped me a song, and I went and pulled up a beat and she rapped it to it, and she lost her mind. She was like, it just blew her whole. It's like it's a whole new world out here. She can find her own sound just through working with BeatStars or License Lounge or whatever. It's like, whatever. It's like, you can connect in ways you never could before. I remember looking for beats when I was just A&R projects before I was producing, and it was hard to find producers who had equipment and who stuff sounded
Yeah.
good and who had some originality and who had taste. Now it's like a lot of beats are really dope. Now they're just looking for the context of the right artist.
Yeah, I mean, my own 5 Points Bakery, which is Vintage Vandals. You know, that's BeatStars. We connected through. Two of them are from my city, but it wouldn't have happened without connecting online, and that's part of our workflow. So I definitely agree with that.
That's dope. That's
Let,
super
let's
dope.
talk let's talk big placements. because I had been meaning to ask you this. We just ran out of time the last time. Sleepy Brown, Superfly, that was a big placement. How did you get that song placed in the Superfly film?
My homie DJ Funky he's worked with Future a lot. He was one of the first champions of his music. When Future became executive producer over the Superfly reboot soundtrack, he reached out to him, and Funky reached out to us. He was like, yo, we need some music. And so we went over, I think we did a couple rough ideas, and then went over to his house, and Sleepy came over there, and we played a couple. And I think one of the first ones we played was that idea, and it didn't even have drums on it. And Sleepy was like, yo, put some drums on it. I'll write to it. And I worked hard on it. We all worked hard on it for like 2 months straight, solid, and then didn't hear anything back, and like last minute ended up getting picked. So it wasn't even like a guarantee. We just had to believe that it was going to get placed. And then last minute, Big Boy was actually the one who pushed it through. Apparently somebody was like, somebody told him the album needed more dynamics, and he was like, yo, you got to use this song. And they ended up using it as the first song. So that was super dope.
So how did you form the relationship with DJ Funky that led up to this, and how long in the making was that relationship?
That's since I was like 17. Since I was like 16, 17, I've been bringing clients to him to play their records in the club. He has a DJ crew called Coalition DJs too. And it's pretty much all the top DJs in the strip clubs in Atlanta and the mixtape circuit. And so I've just been working with him for the longest, like the longest. And so anytime there's anything like live music or anything like that, he kind of will hit me up and be like, yo, I need something special. So yeah, that's a long relationship. And that just comes from me just always wanting to bring something to the table. I never just want to like hang around and be a hanger on. I want to be like, oh yeah, I got this client, this person wants to get their record played. You're in the club. Let me connect. I've always just connected people. And so from that, a lot of stuff like just being cool with DJ Funky, we've had a relationship for over 15 years now.
Yeah, I was talking about this with Dame earlier. The fact that I'm on BeatStars right now and succeeding on the platform is because of a relationship I started with Mike Trampy 11 years ago. I think it was 11 years ago. And I think a lot of people are just so impatient that because I posted about it, I tweeted about it, about how long it took me. 11 years is a long time for some people.
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, it's worth it because how amazing is life when you're making music for a living, and that was my dream for a long time. So the fact that it took me 11 years is nothing, but I think in a lot of people's minds, waiting that long and fostering and nurturing relationships that don't immediately pay off just seems like just too much, and they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I think you got to be in it for the right reasons. I think if you're in it for like a quick money grab, there's probably better ways to make money, better ways to make quick money. But I just love music. I'd be doing it even if I had to do it for free. And I'd be putting in the same amount of effort, probably, keeping it real, just because I love it. Like, we didn't get paid up front to do the Superfly track. We just went crazy on that shit, We went crazy on shit. Like, they said, yeah, we're guaranteed using it. And just down to the last minute, they actually use it. So it's like, I'm always going to put that effort in. We're always going to put that same effort in. I think if you have that attitude, good things will happen. And it's just going to take time. It's not going to happen when you want it to happen. But I see some people tweet, dedicate yourself a whole year to something, or a whole summer. Like, man, I'm dedicated a whole 20 years, a whole 20 something. It's a long time,
Yeah, I think if you dedicate yourself to something in a year, and after that year, if you're not hooked on it, then and you feel like you could still give up at that point, maybe it's not the right thing.
Right. Like, I did music, DJing, and doing marketing for 11 years before I started producing, and now so I'm gonna take that year just to produce, and then I've stayed on it since then.
Yeah, because you were hooked, you fell in love with it, but if you hadn't, it wouldn't have been the right thing for you. Right. Obviously, it was.
And then it's healthy to quit too. It's healthy to quit. There's some people who aren't built for high stress situations. Like, I'm cool in recording situations and different things because I don't get stressed out by certain things, or I don't Um, I know how to handle certain situations. Some people don't. Some people aren't people, and this is a people business. So it's cool, but don't put yourself in a position to where you have to deal with people and you're stressing yourself out. You don't, you're not doing that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't make any sense. So I was looking at your
Clearly, you're
title
not. You're not.
playlist, which yeah, no, clearly, I'm not offended. I'm looking
Yeah.
at your title playlist, which I should have done a while ago. Yeah, your discography is crazy. Okay, so just a couple standout titles: "Extravagant" by Lil Durk and Nicki Minaj, "Right"
Yep.
by Rich the Kid, "Drip" by Guap Dad 4000, "Drip on You" by Guap Dad 4000, "Natural High" by Freddie Gibbs, "Walk" by Young M.A. That's just a couple of them. And I know that there are stories behind each of these tracks. Which one of these placements has the craziest backstory?
Um, all of those. Well, I'll say the coolest one was just the Rich the Kid one. That was me and DJ Spins, and it was the coolest just because it was the quickest. He just happened to have his computer up when I was dropping his camera off. I'd borrowed his camera for something, and I dropped it off, and he had his computer up, and I was like, "Yo, let's get a jam in real quick." And he was like, "For real?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And so he pulled up a sound, and I played just real simple keys. He did some drums and put a piano, and I didn't even know he sent it to Rich the Kid. He didn't send it to me until it was already like a 500,000 views. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is dope." But it was cool because it just happened, and it just came from. I always have this attitude: if we have just any amount of time, let's get a quick jam in. Let's just make something real quick, whether anywhere, any place we're at. Like, we got 10 minutes. Let's make a quick joint, and that's just a testament to that. That song would have never happened if it wasn't just for saying, "Yeah, let's just cook up real quick." Didn't have time. Didn't have um, didn't have a lot of time, but just made it real quick and shit. It just happened. It's funny because sometimes you feel like the intention, if you put the right intention into it, or if you work so hard on it, that people will feel it. And sometimes the shit you work the hardest on, people will feel the least. You had to massage it too much, or it's not.
Yeah.
The vibe just wasn't right. That's why you spend so much time on it. You're like, "Oh, I spent 12 hours on this beat." It's like, maybe it wasn't the right vibe, because you could spend 10 minutes on one and that'd be the vibe, or you could spend, you know, 2 months on the Superfly record and that'd be the right amount of time. But it's just interesting knowing the amount of time doesn't always equal the outcome. So I thought that was like the most surprising. But all of them are cool. A lot of those are from the samples that we send out to producers, and all that's networking online. All that's me hitting up DMs, being fans of people, being like, "Yo, I love your shit. Can I send you some samples?" And then producers being like, "Yo, yeah," and they'll connect them. Like, was it the Jadena record? We did that. We sent that sample to Lil C. He's working with Mike and Keys. They do the beat together, and now we got Jadena's first single from his last album. So that was pretty dope.
How did the Young M.A. track come together?
A similar thing. We were working with this group of producers called One Mind. They did Unforgettable for French Montana. They actually really were the first ones that got us into doing samples, because when they started coming to Atlanta, they would sit in the back of the room like, "Yo, give us some music." This was around the time Pierre was around and all that. They would just sit in the back like, "Yo, give us some music." And so we would just start giving them, I'd mute the drums out of a beat or just start giving them music, and they would start doing drums. So they were the first producers we really started doing that with, like doing samples with. And they sent some beats to Young M.A. and she did that joint. Came out super hard. But it's always cool because I have my network, these producers have their network, and then it's like sometimes I'll send off the beat we do together, or sometimes the producer does. So it's just cool. It's like it's doubling your network as soon as you do it.
Yeah,
I
that's
would ideally
definitely
rather be
true.
in the studio with somebody, but we don't have that the option. So this is literally like the second best. Is like, well, if we can't be there, here's some vibes.
Yeah, how has COVID affected your process? I'm sure it has, because you're always, not always, but often one of the in-person type of music makers.
Yeah, it stopped as far as just like going out, not really DJing. I really stopped taking DJ gigs and stuff like that. So not really hearing music out. That's been a difference. I'm always used to being out and vibing with the music. But other than that, we've pretty much a lot of the stuff we do has been established online, working with different artists and different producers, like I'm saying, with the sample packs and the NFTs, all that's online. So we kind of adapted it to where we can do most of the hustling from the house.
All right. Another thing I was gonna ask the last time but didn't get a chance. I didn't actually know you were a part of the Snow on the Bluff film, and you scored the soundtrack.
Hell yeah! So we did the trailer. We scored the trailer, and then we scored the trailer, and then what else? We scored. There's actually a couple songs in there. Kurt Snow actually came through, and we produced a couple songs for him, and they used some in the movie, and then on one of the official mixtapes that came out, they didn't drop like an actual soundtrack, but that version that came out, it was really dope. That's another thing. Of just Ricky keeps his ear to the streets too, and he heard that they were working on a movie. It was just filmed, and Ricky just reached out to Kurt, and Kurt was like, "Yo, we need some music," and he sent us the trailer. It had like an Outkast beat on it. Then we put a new track, like we wrote to it and did something new. And we didn't know, we put it out, we knew people liked it, but we didn't know until like maybe 2 months ago, Kurt and Ricky were talking. And Kurt was like, "Yo, y'all don't know how much that music meant to the trailer. Like if we didn't have y'all do that, he didn't know what would have happened with the movie." That's what he said. So it's dope. You never know how you can impact things, and that's like a cultural, it's like a hood classic here. People love that shit, and it's dope. So it's nice to be a part of something like that. That's like a phenomenon in its own little way, you know.
Yeah. What was that process like? Actually scoring a film. I mean, compared to making beats for songs.
Well, this is kind of like the Blair Witch style, like the the way of the movie. So it's not like a traditional score. So there's like some songs that kind of play randomly throughout it. And like I said, we scored the trailer, the movie trailer. But it's a lot of this stuff. I keep talking about NFTs. That's just what we're doing now. A lot of the stuff with that is more scoring related and really different than just purely composing beats. Like that definitely calls for a whole different kind of skill set. You can adapt being a producer to that, but writing music, it's almost kind of like writing for a video game, kind of.
Have you done that work on video games?
No, but we're speaking into existence right now.
Okay,
We are.
good.
We'll definitely do some. We'll do some shit. I'm sure doing these NFTs is definitely going to lead to it because we're doing all types of stuff. I saw some guy trying to clown. Oh, one of the last pieces we sold, he was like, "Sounds like Sony PlayStation startup music." I was like, "It's pretty dope." You know, I like that. It's not a bad thing to sound like.
Yeah, that's not an insult because
It's really not. He was
someone
laughing.
got paid
I
a
was
lot
like,
of money
I
for
gotta
that.
fuck with that. I like this on the PlayStation startup music. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Some of the insults are like, "It sounds like Justin Bieber's next hit." Like, oh wow, really? That's that's not an insult. Anyway, what was I gonna say? In terms of how business gets handled, how does film scoring compare to more traditional placements?
As far as Snow on the Bluff, that was an independent film, so that was probably handled separately than anything else we get filmed. I mean, anything else we get handled. The sound design that we did for Hollywood movie trailers, that was different too because we worked with a sound design house, a movie trailer house, and they service the sounds to different, I guess, trailer houses. They're a sound design company that services trailer houses because there's companies that just do movie trailers, and so they send them the sounds. We sold them the sounds, and then they distribute the sounds. Still waiting on the first like complete score. We've done like a lot of like smaller things. Like we scored some stuff for Ubisoft. We did a commercial for them. So we're building up to the full feature film.
So let's get into NFT territory. Tell me about this Nocturne Skies project you recently worked on.
Yeah, that's a really dope collaboration. It's our first collection with Nate in the Wild. He's a real dope landscape photographer and videographer. He went and shot the Aurora Borealis, and he did like a bunch of real dope time lapses and sent them to us, and we scored them. And we're in the process of releasing that as a collection. We put it out, but then it's interesting just experimenting right now with the different marketplaces and stuff. Some allow for certain terms and availability and drop release terms, and then others don't. So we're kind of recalculating the release of that, and so we can get a better proper release. But The other stuff we released up until that, I think we've sold like 13 or 14 of our releases, the one of one mints. And so actually I think like 5 of those were drum kit. We dropped a 100 of 100 drum kit, meaning there's only 100 being sold. I think there's like 95 of those left. And then the rest were one of one pieces, to where we connected with people online, different videographers, 3D motion graphic designers from around the world. It's really dope. It's really dope. It's a whole new world. It's like, and it's all happening on Twitter. It's like this 24-hour nonstop, kind of like art club or something, and everybody's just posting up their work. It's like, now is the time for creators to kind of get back their power and just control their own destiny. There's no middleman. There's no gatekeepers to any of it. There's nobody they have to wait. As long as you're going to hustle and get your name out there, network, do all these things, do all the things you're doing, and anything else, you could have a good chance of succeeding. And I think that's really dope. And then with the blockchain, with the ability to mint things, you're saying, I created this thing. So I think that's going to cut down on a lot of the copyright infringement bullshit, because you're going to say, hey, I minted this on this day. If you didn't mint it, hey, you know, it's not. As soon as you mint something, that means that was when it was created. So I think that's just going to cut down on a lot of the bullshit of people saying, well, I made this before. It's like, you made it, mint it, put it out. It's kind of like put up or shut up thing.
What does the minting process involve?
So the minting process is when you actually place something onto the blockchain. So the NFT, I think, is non-fungible token, but it just means there's no one-to-one correlation. So if I give you $1, you can give me a different dollar in this for the same amount. If I give you one of my NFTs, there's no correlation to the dollar amount. There's no like it equals 4 or whatever. It's just so anyway. So the minting process is basically, an NFT is like a journal entry onto the blockchain, but it's a public ledger, so everybody can see it, and you can't edit it. Nobody can edit it. So they have these different things called unlockables and different things, different links you can add to it, so you can have essentially a container of data or whatever you want, a video or anything else. Some people put physical things in there. It can be anything.
How do you put a physical thing in there?
Like, you can put it as an unlockable and have it available, so when somebody buys it, you ship it to that person. So I've seen people,
and then all their like information is in there. Like,
yeah. When somebody buys it, they can include the shipping information, and you can work it out from there. I haven't done any physical releases yet, so I'm not the expert to talk to on that. But I've seen people do shoes and all different kind of things. But as far as the minting process, say somebody creates the visual, we create the music, and then I find a marketplace like Foundation or OpenSea, and I go on there and I upload it and I click mint. Minting is actually like placing it on the blockchain, putting that journal entry into the blockchain journal. And you have to pay like an Ethereum gas fee for it, because all this is dealt with in Ethereum cryptocurrency. And once that's done, then it goes up for sale. And so
how much is that fee usually?
It depends on the amount of traffic on the network, and it depends on if the network is doing well or not. I think if Ethereum, like the money, like the price of it is up, I think the gas is down. But if the price of it's down, then the gas is up. I think that's how it works. So usually sometimes it's around like $60 to $100 to mint something. And then OpenSea is doing this thing now to where you can pay a one-time $100 fee, and all the mints are essentially free after that. You're minting on the same collection. So that's something that we're starting to experiment with. But it's interesting. There's a lot of different ways, but it's just basically a way for creators to sell art online, kind of like how these auction houses are. You can set a lot of these up as auctions, like Foundation. I sold a piece yesterday with this photographer from New Zealand named Caleb Johnston, and it was like a 3D motion piece. And basically, as soon as somebody you set like a minimum bid, it was like 0.75 Ethereum. As soon as somebody put that minimum bid in, it triggers a 24-hour auction, and people can bid against each other for that 24 hours. Different websites have different rules and different things. You can put just a buy now price if you just want to just say, hey, like on our drum kits, there's a buy now price of 0.25 Ethereum. You pay that, you can just buy it right there. There's no auction or anything like that. So it just depends. And then you could release them in 2 different ways, either a one of one, saying this exists as a one-time thing, or like a collection and it's like editions. Like I got a red one, I got a blue one, or I got a chopped and screwed one, I got a regular one. Just kind of however you want to do it.
Okay, that's a lot of
Is it
information.
is
Let's.
making sense? I know it's a lot to take
Um.
in. You're like,
Well, we have
it's a
questions
lot to take
coming
in,
in.
bro. I literally watched the space for 8 months before I jumped into it, just to study it and understand it. And so this past month and a half has been experimenting with releases, and we have had some really good success because there's a lot of dope people who really aren't selling. Their art isn't selling right now for whatever reason, you know. So we're blessed to have been able to sell, you know, over 10 pieces already. But it's a lot to take in, and so one thing that I'm trying to do now is to work on different resources and things to point people in the right direction, almost a step-by-step like primer to it. Because a lot of people hit me up and I'll have this one video from this guy DCL blogger that I'll send, and I'm like, this is what an NFT is, and that's the basic of that. But then it's like, all right, kind of breaking it down even more. So I'm kind of working on some resources for people to kind of point them in the right direction and help people out, because this is the way for all of us to get our power back. I think a lot of people and a lot of creative people are trapped in client work for corporations and different people, and this is the way to get out of that. You can still do your client work, but just split it up and have on your off time do your own art. Maybe that gets more popular and you start doing your client work on the time you were doing your hobby work on. I see a lot of people who this one guy who did the John Wick trailer, the not the trailer but the movie poster, he dropped a couple NFTs and that shit's going crazy, a couple collections. So it's like now he can do the client work whenever he wants. He doesn't, I don't know if he was dependent on it, but he don't have to. It's like it's just a way to get our freedom back. And it's dope. Honestly, I'm so inspired to just be able to create art 24/7. Like there's been times where I'm so dead tired and it's like 6 o'clock and I'm about to go to sleep and I'm like, do I want to go to sleep or just hit up a couple people and see if they've got some video they want to send me? And there's been plenty of times like Caleb, the last piece we sold, not this, the most recent one, but the second one, we sold 3 so far together. I just happened to be up to 7 o'clock and I was just about to go to sleep. And I think I tweeted something. He sent me a link. He's like, yo, you want to score this? And I did it like super quick, you know, but just because I was up. If I was asleep, I wouldn't have done it. So a lot of it's like opportunity. But it's dope to be able to create art and put it out and have people be like, oh, this is a neat thing. Because a lot of times we feel like we're creating in like this endless black hole, you know, like this vacuum of like, I'm putting my art out there and I'm not getting the feedback of like, what do y'all think? I like it. My people like it. You know, like we think it's dope. And then you'll have some success like placements and different things. But to a certain extent, you just feel like you're existing in a vacuum sometimes as a creative. Just the way things are kind of set up now. So with this, like putting it out, the community is so supportive. It just feels like a fresh place to create art. And music is art. It's part of the entertainment business, but it's also just art.
Okay, I have a lot of questions, but Cameron Prince wants to know what's the longest you've had to wait for a sale of an NFT?
Most of them sell within a couple days. Ours have. Now this is because I've done a lot of networking. I've hit up I've studied, like I said, for 8 months just to find out who are the dope people. And then even then, I hit up so many people. And the people that hit me back were the people that hit me back. And I just went hard for those people that hit me back. But I think I have like maybe one piece that hasn't sold yet. And it's been up there probably about a month now, maybe. But most of them actually go pretty quick. And a lot of that depends on like pricing and different things. Like the Nocturne Skies hasn't sold yet, but we priced that starting at 10 Ethereum. We weren't trying to do like the regular smaller sales on that. We're trying to establish these collections as something different.
And is that a one of one?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and there's 5 pieces in the collection. So that was going to be the first piece of dropping it. Didn't get the response, and that was only a 3-day time. Again, I think if maybe we would have set a 2-week auction on it, maybe we would have got a different response. It's really just experimenting. There's no way to mess up because it's so new. Like I could say, oh, we fucked up, but it's new, and selling one of those pieces for under 1 Ethereum would be fucking up to me. That would be a fuck up. So I'd rather just like, all right, let me just step back and recalibrate that release. Because we've got 2 short films. We've got 2 short films, and we've got like 3, really like a lot of pieces coming. We got a lot of stuff coming out. So kind of just want to take my time on that one. The collections are just viewed as more special. And especially this being our first one, I just want to do it right. because it's really dope. That shit's so hard. And he was out there like filming some of that shit for like some of those time lapses are like 17 hours in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. Do you know how much one Ethereum is worth right now or valued at?
Mm, we can look it up real quick. It fluctuates between like 1400 and 1800.
Okay, but I mean that's a good reference point. We have
Yeah.
10 minutes left, and I have a lot of questions, and we
Oh,
have
it's at
questions coming
2000 right now.
to the damn. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so you were selling that collection for around 18-20,000.
Well, the first bid was starting at 10 Ethereum. Yeah, and it was going to scale up from there. Like the first piece 10, the next one was probably going to be like 15, and then kind of up from there.
Got it. So Cloud9 Music wants to know which website or service you would recommend for a producer who's wanting to make their beats into NFTs.
So there's a lot of new marketplaces. Like I think it's I'm gonna have to send some links. There's a couple. It's called Odd something. I forget what it is. Audius, maybe it's Audius. I know that's a strictly music platform. They got another one called something collective. There's a couple marketplaces. I'll have to send you some links on this and look it up. But there's a couple that are just specifically for music, and you can probably look up music NFTs. And technically, you can sell music NFTs. I've seen people selling songs on OpenSea. OpenSea is the biggest marketplace. Anybody can sign up. That's I'd recommend everybody sign up. And yeah, just put you one on there. Start from there, and then look for different ones as you get more into it. But OpenSea is a great place to start. That's probably the biggest marketplace right now for NFTs.
Okay, so here's a big question about NFTs. When you sell an NFT, are you, because it's single owner usually if you're doing a one-on-one or one of one, sorry, are you selling your copyrights? Are there situations in which you don't actually sell your copyrights to that piece
I think
of
all
art?
this is now just being figured out, honestly, because I've seen some people, I see them selling the Top Shot dunk. Somebody has to actually own that footage. So how the NFT is getting sold, maybe it's the person that owns the footage is selling it. I don't know. I'm not too into it. I know the Top Shot is even bigger than music and artists right now in the NFT world. That's what I'm not sure of as far as the intellectual property. I know you get royalties on what you sell. So on different marketplaces, you can say like Rarible, I think you could set up to 30%. And so I think on our drum kit we put 10%. So every time if somebody resells a drum kit, we get 10% of that. On the one-on-ones, we place it a little bit higher, like 20%. And so you'll get those residuals forever. And all that's in the blockchain and all set up in the system. So you never have to worry about the money not being sent to you or anything. In perpetuity, you'll get that. This is the first time in the history you don't have to audit the company. I know you're looking at me like, really? This is intriguing.
Yeah.
Royalties that you don't have to actually, like, no, for real. Like, you can put whatever your royalties amount, and if somebody sells a piece, say your value goes up in 6 months, and all your pieces are going for 100,000. Now this piece you sold for 1,000. Now that goes for 100,000. You participate in that sale. If you set a 10% royalty, you're getting that $1,000, $10,000 or whatever that is of that. In perpetuity, forever.
So do you think moving forward, because Bufo's talking a lot about his critiques of Ethereum gas fees, do you think moving forward, once this becomes a little more popular, there will be more options and the prices?
Well, they've got Ethereum 2 coming. That's supposed to be like the updated, latest, greatest with like less carbon emissions and less gas fees. And I know there's marketplaces coming up right now that are doing stuff to like OpenSea. If you pay the $100 collection fee, you're not paying the regular gas fees. I think you have to pay one gas fee when it gets sold. I believe so. And usually the buyer will pay for that. I like the gas fee as a barrier to entry. I do. It's like, do you believe in your art? Hell yeah, fucking mint that shit and put it out there. I feel like it makes you put skin in the game. It makes you care. Like when I used to have to press up the CDs and go hand them to people and drive around, I had to get out there and fucking do the thing, I don't think it's a bad thing. Now I'm actually working on things to help artists who can't afford to pay gas fees and stuff do that. But I don't see it as a bad thing. Sometimes it can get exorbitant and that is a problem, but Ethereum two is coming. So hopefully that'll solve both those problems.
How does it work? Because you're doing so many collaborations on NFTs. How does that work with the blockchain? Is that a simple process? Is it simpler than
And
the
right
traditional?
now it's the trust system, because you
Oh
can
wow.
see it online. If it sells, you can always go to that link of the piece of where it is and see, oh, somebody just bought it. Somebody else just bought it. Right now, some collabs will put on our pages, some collabs they'll put on their pages. And then when it sells or resells, they'll just hit us up and then send it to our wallet. I'm working on something right now to where collaborators can split that shit immediately, because it doesn't make any sense why people can't do that. I just know they didn't understand it, and that hasn't been a way people had to use it up until this point. But now it's becoming necessary. So I'm trying to figure out some things now to where creators can immediately get split royalties, and that doesn't even have to be that part of it doesn't have to be there. But again, I think because of the barrier of entry of gas fees, nobody's fucking around. So I haven't had one person try to jerk me. I haven't sold one piece and me not send the money or they not send the money. It's very much like everybody is dead ass serious about doing this shit. Like, because if you're doing it, you got to spend time on it. I don't want people to think you could just jump into it and be successful. Maybe you can if you already had something successful going on and you're like already popping. But you're gonna have to work for it. But the thing is, again, just like working for your career, 10 years working for yourself, now you got a career for yourself, as opposed to investing time into somebody else's company. Or you can learn in those times, but you invest in yourself, you're not gonna get wrong.
Okay, this brings up a good point for me then, because we're talking about barrier of entry. We're talking about technology and cutting edge, and it's kind of, it seems like a lot of it is just falling into place now, and we're gonna see a lot of changes and a lot of I guess a lot more refinement of this whole thing, this whole NFT process. Who is buying NFTs right
So
now?
right now, the main buyers are collectors who fucking ran it up in Bitcoin and Ethereum, got in early, bought like Bitcoin for 50 cents a share, thousands, hundreds of thousands of shares, and now it's at 60K a share. They got ridiculous money. You got those, and then you also have artists. I bought two pieces. I've spent like $2,000 in pieces. Artists supporting artists. That's a big thing. A lot of artists get money and immediately buy other art. That's a beautiful thing. Haven't really seen that in a lot of other ways. You don't really see like anybody start getting show money, like, oh, I'm gonna start buying verses, or I'm gonna patron your art. Like, you don't see that with this. Artists are supporting other artists. A lot of people that have bought stuff from us just want to see us win. A lot of people. So that's really dope. I don't know where we're
Yeah, how do
going,
you think that's going to
but
evolve over the next couple of years?
it is everything. It's so new. Like, it's so new. Like, over the next year, it's gonna go crazy, but really the next 10 years is gonna be interesting to see where it evolves. I would like to see, we're talking about how to possibly run beat contracts through there. I Majors will hate me for saying this shit, but I would love if somebody tries to buy a beat, I mint that shit and say, you got to pay the mint. Oh, here's the link. Oh, we want the stems. Oh, the stems are available as an unlockable in the mint. So you minted it. That creates everything. Says this is the one of one. Now you put the stems in there as an unlockable. Oh, we want the stems. Oh yeah, you can buy it. It's what, 1,500, 2,500, whatever your price is. You could just set it as a buy now price. When they pay that, then they get the stems. I think up until this point, it's been under this guise. We've operated on this guise that the label is gonna handle things in a timely manner, and they're not. They're kind of like, oh yeah, well, just let us put out the music and then we'll kind of get around to handling the business. So now it's time for us, the creators, to say, no, look at my NFT, buy the mint of the beat, you get the stems in there, you can download it, mix it, do whatever, release the song, and then as we get the contract worked out, we can get it out, and we'll just put that $1,500 as the price in there, or whatever it is. We'll put that as the price in there. And we'll work out the contract as it comes. Whenever you want to get that done, we'll work out the contract. That way we're not stressed out and being like, fuck, why are we waiting 6, 9, 12, 2 years, 2 months, for all this, for the money. And it's not like these are complex contracts to where we're doing like a corporate merger. It's a song deal for one song, and it's usually not that difficult.
Yeah.
So I think if we just say, hey, here's the mint, here's the stems. Oh, we got to get a mix. We'll just pay for it. You have the money, buy it. And they buy it. Then we can work out the contract from there. You got the stems, we can work out the rest from there. We'll put the price in there. They're not gonna like it, but do we like where it is right now? Fuck no. Fuck no. And we've just been taking it. And I think now the NFTs are a way for us to readjust and recalibrate how we value ourselves, how we conduct business, and just the way we view leverage in everything. Because right now, the labels up until this point have had all the leverage in the history of all history. The labels have had all the leverage. And now with artists being able to drop NFTs and do all this, the artists are about to get all the power back. The producers, we're about to get the power back. Now, if a producer, now this is a whole new world to where if a producer, say they don't really talk to people well and don't really want to do, they love making beats, but they don't really want to do songs. Now they can connect with a videographer from Thailand and do an NFT and put that shit out, and maybe people will fuck with that. And if they don't, try another one. And now I'm networking, finding, just like I was trying to find artists and trying to find producers, trying to find artists to give our beats and trying to find producers to give our samples. Now I'm finding motion graphic designers and videographers to score their, you know, I'm like, what do you got? What do you have? What kind of video do you have? Let's score it. Let's drop that shit. Like, let's make something really dope. Let's make it fresh. Let's make it interesting. Let's put it out. Let's keep going.
Okay, so last question, because we've already ran over, but this is a fascinating conversation, and Illmind is coming on in a couple weeks.
Nice.
So we're definitely going to continue this talk.
Yeah.
So anyone in here that wants to ask him questions, yeah, exactly, because you and him are early adapters, and there aren't too many other producers that I can name that are paying attention to this stuff. So, last question: what is new for you in 5 Points Bakery in 2021 coming up?
NF motherfucking T's. NFTs. It's the now and it's the future. And it's why I really haven't slept the past 2 months. I really haven't. It's so awesome to be able to just create and make really awesome, different, random shit. Putting our weirdest beats against the dopest visuals and it being cool. And not having a middleman. Bro, come on, I know you feel me. Not having the middleman be like, we need a song for this trailer that's like Eminem's Lose Yourself. Fuck that shit, bro. License Eminem's Lose Yourself. Don't ask me for that shit, you know? It's like you get paid a job to ask for the most popular movie trailer song ever. They're actually paying you for this, you know? And it's like the notes I get back from our collaborators are dope. It's like one little tweak or one little thing to where a lot of these middlemen are like, can you do something more mainstream? Can you give me something more trap? Can you give me something that kills the whole vibe because they're worried about losing their job? My art is not getting fucked up by somebody not worried about losing their job anymore. Come on. What is the impact of that about to be? Max, like, compound that with people being able to connect around the world real time and create art together and release it, and like everything be able to be the business wise be kept up with. It's a public ledger. This is about to be the dopest time of creating art, I think, of all time, for fucking sure. How could it not be? Do you see some of the stuff people are doing with motion graphics? What people are doing with music now? Like, shit's about to go crazy. And like the stuff I see every day, my feed is just like the dopest art I've ever seen. Every day, I'm just like, wow, people are really just waking up making the illest shit. And there's something for everybody. You don't have to do one thing. There's no number one spot we're trying to fight for radio, or 12 spots on a Playboy Cardi album that everybody's trying to fight for, or there gets such this negative energy because everybody's fighting for these certain selected amount of slots. There's not that in the NFT world. So all the people, there's only a couple people doing music, but everybody's cool. All the graphic designers are cool. There's no need to be like catty or snippy or all the stuff you're saying, like all the hater shit. It's like, if you're a hater in that world, you're not going to make it because nobody's going to want to fuck with you. They just want good energy. We've dealt with negative energy from every other aspect of our regular work. Like, we're not going to bring that shit here, you know?
Well, once again, I appreciate your time. Shout out your social media so everyone can follow you.
Yeah, at DJ Burn1, DJ BURNONE. Sorry, I think I passed my quota. I looked at the comments last time. They smashed me for my I was gonna get a shirt that said and not say nothing. I'm fucking country. I don't know what to say, bro. I don't know why I said that shit. I tried to watch it this time for y'all though. We're working it out.
We say that up here too. I don't know. There's a lot of
stuff.
I'll
be telling you something that I know you don't know, and I'll be like, but it's all good. Folks were roasting me. I was like, okay, we're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. It's okay. So I hope y'all try to give y'all some good knowledge this time, bro.
can sell a shirt as an NFT. Maybe I don't know. I don't know
Bro,
if we can do that.
that shit will go crazy. It'll probably sell for 30 Ethereum.
There we go. All right, shout out to everyone tuned in. Again, watch the BeatStars Instagram for the Ozone giveaway, the Ozone 9 Advanced giveaway. We're giving away 3 copies. The keyword is balance. Don't forget that, man. These are $500 plugins we're giving away. So definitely, do you use Ozone?
Yeah, I do. I love Ozone stuff. I really like their stuff when I have to like fix stuff, like the RX bundle and stuff. All
Yeah,
that stuff
RX-8 is
really dope.
amazing.
Yeah, love it. I love that. And then there's like some type of image spreader I like a lot too.
Yeah, and that one's free. The Ozone,
Yeah,
the Isotope Ozone Imager is a free plugin, so I definitely recommend I use that in every beat.
gotta love it.
All right, once again, shout out to all of you. Peace, everyone. Catch you next time, same place at the MEC live on BeatStars.